In this closet, we have the hot water heater. This is something that you always want to take a look at when you're doing a walkthrough. So let's see what we have. Okay, first thing we notice in this closet, there are some holes in the door, but this is what we would call cosmetic damage. This is not something that we're going to be concerned about as a red flag. Certainly not something an inspector is going to look at. This door still serves its purpose, and from the outside, you can't even tell it's damaged. So this would not be a red flag, even though it is some cosmetic damage. Let's look at the water heater itself. Now, this water heater appears to be relatively new. It looks like it's in pretty good condition, but I can't find the date of manufacture printed on here, and I don't see the install date written on here either. So usually those two things are both there, but we don't know how old this water heater is. So while it looks like it's in good condition, it could be a little bit on the older side. So that's something that we're going to want to take note of and maybe try to find an answer to. And that could be as simple as just taking down the serial number, model number, and looking it up, or maybe we really do need to call somebody else and try to figure out exactly what's going on. Water heaters are a big ticket item that can be really expensive to replace and can cause a lot of damage if they malfunction. So this is something that you always want to stop and take a look at when you're doing a walkthrough. Let's continue on. In a bathroom, there's two main things that we're paying attention to. The first is electrical, the second is plumbing. Now, just like in any other room, we're going to take a look at the walls, the ceiling, the floors, make sure that there's no structural issues. And I don't see anything here like that. So let's then take a look at the electrical system. Well, it looks like we only have this one outlet that I can see here by the sink, and it doesn't appear that there's a GFCI. So that's something to take a note of. Now let's look at these switches and make sure they all work. Okay, those lights turn on. The fan works. And the shower light turns on. So the lights in here are working, the electrical system looks good. We could test this outlet by plugging something in if we want to, but I feel pretty good knowing that these things are working. So let's talk about the plumbing. So the sink, the bathtub, the shower, the toilet, any other water fixtures that are in the bathroom. So I always like to turn the sink on, make sure that it's running. This sink runs just fine. And then you want to take a look underneath, and you want to look, make sure that there's no evidence of leaking through the drain and not any evidence of water damage underneath. Now you could also flush the toilet, make sure that works, and you could turn on the shower and the bathtub, see if those are working. Generally, you can tell that those things are working because there'll be signs that they've been used pretty frequently, because bathrooms are high-use areas. Now, another thing that to pay attention to is you want to stop and listen when you go in the bathroom. And we don't hear anything. And that's because there's no water running. Sometimes, if you have a bad plumbing fixture, you'll hear the sound of water running, and you know what that sound sounds like, the sound that you get after you flush a toilet. You might hear that. And if you hear a sound like that, that's an indication that there's water running somewhere. At best, it's going to be a waste of water and therefore money. At worst, it's a leak that could cause damage. So that's something you want to check out for sure. Now, lastly, let's take a look right up here. In here, we can see it looks like the paint is almost wrinkled. That is a result of water damage. So some water has gotten in between the paint and the wall, the ceiling, and it's caused that paint to kind of peel away from where it was. Now that's not a huge concern in and of itself. That might just be something we need to scrape off and repaint over to keep that protected and looking nice. But if you see a lot of that, it could be an indication of some sort of chronic moisture issue. The other thing you want to keep a lookout for is mold. Mold is one of the most common problems that you're going to find in a bathroom because there's so many places where water can get stuck in a bathroom, and because there's so frequently moisture, not only in the sink or in the bathtub, but in the air as well. So that's a big thing to keep an eye on as you walk through the bathrooms. But other than the plumbing, electrical, and structural issues, there's not too much to see in a bathroom. So let's continue on.